Fear is a detrimental human emotion. It can lead us towards a turbulent and regretful future. The Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca spoke about fear and its consequences to your success and happiness. That's why today in this video, we will list 15 Stoic lessons for you to overcome your fears. Before we start this video, I would like to say thank you for watching, and don't forget to like. And if you are watching this and not subscribed, make sure you subscribe and hit the bell for more life-changing Stoic content. Number 1. Breathe slowly and deeply. Fear triggers the body's fight or flight response, causing rapid, shallow breathing that amplifies anxiety. But by consciously regulating your breath, you can counteract fear. When you notice fear arising, pause and start taking slower, deeper belly breaths. Inhale fully so your abdomen expands, then exhale fully to release tension. Keep breathing rhythmically from your diaphragm. As Marcus Aurelius said, keep yourself simple, good, pure, serious, free from affectation, a friend of justice, a worshiper of the gods, kind, affectionate, strenuous in all proper acts. Slow, full breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, signaling the body to relax. It lowers heart rate and stops fear's physical feedback loop. As your physiology calms, your mind follows. If fearful thoughts intrude, gently return focus to your breath. Imagine breathing in calmness and breathing out fear. Use visualization like inhaling light and exhaling darkness. Practice conscious breathing regularly, even when not afraid. It builds the skill and mindfulness to apply when you need it most. With breathing mastery, fear loses power over your body and mind. Just a few deep breaths can diffuse anxiety quickly. Fear often escalates because we don't intervene in its physical effects early on. But by mastering your breath, you control fear before it controls you. You always have this tool available to counter rising panic and find your center again. Number 2. Speak encouragingly to yourself as a trusted friend. When you notice fear arising, pause the alarmed self-talk circulating in your mind. Imagine instead what a wise, caring friend would say to you in this situation. Speak gently to yourself as this imaginary mentor would, with statements like, "This fear will pass, you've overcome hard times before," or "I understand you are worried, but we are in this together." Remind yourself of your past resilience, strengths, and principles. Boost yourself with compassion rather than criticism. If fear distracts you again, keep calmly guiding your thoughts back to centered confidence. As Seneca stated, we suffer more in imagination than in reality. The way we talk to ourselves is vital for influencing emotions. So rather than belittling yourself as weak for feeling afraid, show self-compassion. Help fear melt away by cultivating inner safety and trust. Of course, high standards can motivate growth, but berating yourself when afraid only compounds distress. Bring courage through uplifting inner mentorship. The right words heal. Number 3. Remember times you overcame fear. When afraid, take an inventory of challenges and fears you have navigated before, even if difficult. Recall specific instances of demonstrating courage and perseverance through uncertainty. Remember in detail how it felt to make it through those situations, who supported you, what principles guided you. Even far in the past, those experiences live within you now as resources to apply. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, because your own strength is unequal to the task, do not assume that it is beyond the powers of man. But if anything is within the powers and province of man, believe that it is within your own compass also. Look back on the progression of your whole life until today. Considering all the struggles you have already survived, you have evidence this fear too shall pass. You are far stronger than you give yourself credit for in the moment. By remembering individual instances of past courage rather than just a vague idea, you make that fortitude tangible, real, and accessible again. You have overcome fear and uncertainty countless times already. Number 4. View fear as an advisor, not a dictator. Fear provides useful information about potential risks, but we should not let it control our thoughts and actions rigidly. Treat it as a servant, not master. Acknowledge the warnings fear raises, but respond thoughtfully rather than just reacting impulsively to shut down all risk. Consider which precautions make sense, while preventing paranoia. Stay focused on likely scenarios and, of course, prepare prudently for reasonable risks. But so often, fear exaggerates possibilities into assumed certainties. Regain rationality by questioning fearful stories and grounding them in balanced facts. Look at fear as a nudge to prepare wisely and summon courage, not an order to panic and retreat. Have faith in your ability to navigate difficulties and uncertainty skillfully once you stop blindly obeying fear. The Stoics recognized fear as a normal and useful emotion, not the enemy. But we must rule our fears rather than vice versa. Take the necessary steps to prevent real danger, while refusing irrational avoidance. Number 5, focus on service. When you notice yourself becoming consumed by nervous thinking, make the choice not to indulge the fear further. Instead, actively shift your focus to taking positive action to assist someone else. As Aurelius counseled, do every act of your life as if it were your last. Ask friends or family if there is any way you can help meet their needs. Look for opportunities to contribute to your community. Support a cause aligned with your values. Be of service. Helping others pulls you out of self-preoccupation, feeding anxiety. Doing good also reinforces perspective, connecting with wider needs beyond your own fears. Fears shrink when focused outward. Of course, have compassion for your own difficulties too, but avoid stewing in self-pity alone. Look to make a difference for others facing their own fears and uncertainties. We're all in this together. Regular practice expanding awareness beyond your anxieties will gradually weaken fear's hold. The mind focused on service and compassion has little room left for anguished rumination. Your fears dissipate amidst care. Number 6, disrupt rumination. When afraid, it's easy to brood over repetitive, fearful thoughts that amplify anxiety exponential Y. But we can break this cycle through mindful, absorbing activities. Notice when you've been circling the same anxious thoughts about possible threats over and over. Once aware, gently yet firmly tell yourself, I am stopping this rumination now. Shift your focus. Engage in something wholly absorbing to disrupt stuck thinking. Go for a walk in nature, play an instrument, cook a complex recipe. Any activity requiring full mindful attention works. By giving your conscious mind something immersive to do, you interrupt the subconscious background processes, recycling fearful thoughts. Rumination loses momentum once broken. Of course, fears may return afterwards. But each time you disrupt repetitive thinking, you strengthen the muscle to stop it sooner next time. Refuse to go down the same mental loops endlessly. As Seneca wrote, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Look at rumination as the process of fear, not an inevitable part of you. Have compassion for yourself while nonetheless taking action. The mind's habits can be trained with consistency over time. With mindful effort, fear's grip loosens as patterns of rumination are continually interrupted. You reclaim sovereignty over your own mind. Break the cycles, fear dissipates. Number 7, recall role models who inspire courage. Take a moment to reflect on people, whether figures from history, literature, or your own life, who demonstrate level-headedness and grace under pressure that you admire. Imagine how a wise mentor would calmly work through the difficulty at hand. How did great leaders like Marcus Aurelius respond to fear with principled strength and conviction? Channel their spirit. Visualize these exemplars facing the current challenge with steadiness, wisdom, and faith in themselves. Picture yourself mirroring their unflappable poise. Let them inspire you. Marcus Aurelius himself advised, think of the examples of those who have endured long illnesses, who have lost children, who have been impoverished. Think of their painful labors and how they faced them. Of course, have compassion for your own very human fears as well. But remembering courageous individuals and their conduct can empower you to align with their energy and virtues within yourself. Fear convinces us we are inadequate in isolation, but we are surrounded by kindred spirits across time who have faced terror with resilience. Their light reaches you. Draw strength from their shining example. Number 8, be prepared. Consider possible scenarios that are worrying you. Job loss, accidents, family emergencies. Then proactively assemble what you would need if they occurred. Save an emergency fund, arrange backup childcare options, know alternative travel routes. Identify and gather key resources so you're ready to handle challenges. Also develop a general contingency plan. What first steps would you take after a setback to recover? Having an approach in mind, even if imperfect, lessens panic. Fear feeds on confusion. Preparing for adversity should bring confidence, not paranoia. The goal is reasonable readiness to navigate life's curveball, not doomsday obsession. Stay focused on likely scenarios. Of course, the unknown requires courage too. But having basic responses considered and some essentials on hand helps you feel more empowered and resilient when faced with uncertainty. When the wise reflect daily on mortality, it is not to breed fear but urgency to live virtuously. Similarly, moderate preparation engenders stoic calm to use time prudently. Be ready. Number 9. Challenge fearful assumptions. Fears often rely on worst-case scenarios we treat as fact without examination. But we can lessen anxiety by questioning their supporting evidence. When you notice fear arising, pause and examine the anxious narrative in your mind. Ask what evidence truly supports it. Is it a definitive fact or just a negative interpretation? What objective data contradicts it? For example, the fear "I will get sick and no one will be around to help me" assumes poor health and isolation as inevitabilities rather than possibilities. But does current data confirm this belief as absolutely true? Likely not. Look for affirming counterexamples too. What evidence demonstrates your resilience? Times you navigated illness or emergencies just fine. Rather than believing the worst, expand perspective. As Aurelius wrote, "Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been." Of course, prepare prudently for reasonable risks, but so often fear exaggerates possibilities into assumed certainties. Regain rationality by questioning fearful stories and grounding them in balanced facts. While fear natural why distorts, you can train yourself to catch its tendencies toward catastrophizing. Ask, what is truly likely given the full context? With practice, anxiety becomes much less persuasive. Number 10. Practice asserting yourself. Fear often exaggerates risks of conflict or criticism if we speak up. But respectfully, voicing concerns builds confidence to conquer inhibition. Reflect on situations where you feel afraid to share your perspective, set boundaries, or speak your truth. Then consciously take small risks to assert yourself in these areas, even with just baby steps. Start simply. Ask a question in a meeting. Candidly tell a friend how you feel. Request a favor clearly. Build up to bigger challenges like negotiating salary, saying no to requests, or confronting issues. Accept discomfort as part of growth. The more you speak and act with courage in situations provoking fear, the more you will realize feared consequences rarely manifest. Your confidence expands. Of course, be moderate. Don't become aggressive just to prove a point, but softly asserting your voice and needs counters fear's message that avoiding conflict is paramount. When in balance, it is healthy. As Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Number 11. Visualize rising above fear. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. Then slowly picture yourself in a scenario that seems frightening. Public speaking, important exam, new social situation. See yourself feeling the fear but stepping forward bravely through it. Watch yourself speaking eloquently, passing the test calmly, conversing warmly. You stay grounded in courage. Imagine the pride and joy you feel having triumphed despite the fear. Let your visualization be vivid in full color and detail. Make the scenes experientially real. This rehearsal through imagination shapes your anticipatory beliefs about how you can respond to challenges. Rather than assuming failure, you prime mind and body to react with poise by imprinting the desired images. The mind cannot easily distinguish visualizing success from actual success. Athletes commonly use visualization to improve performance. Treat managing fear similarly. Envision mastery. Make it so. Number 12. Cultivate optimism and gratitude. While fear exaggerates the negative, focusing on the positive provides balance. When you notice fear creeping in, pause and deliberately shift perspective. Look for possible upsides rather than just downsides of the situation provoking anxiety. How might this challenge lead to growth? Also call to mind all the things you appreciate about life: loved ones, nature, health, opportunities. Consider how rich life remains even amid difficulties. Fear thrives on singular focus. Let gratitude wash fear away rather than coexisting. Say thanks for what you have been given, which is always abundant even if not obvious when afraid. As Marcus Aurelius reflected, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. Make a habit of writing down 5 things you feel grateful for each day. Over time, anxiety finds no room to spread as optimism and appreciation expand. Of course, take balanced precautions too. Don't just bury head in sand. But regularly shifting focus to the positive prevents fear from monopolizing mind space. You always have a choice what to feed. Number 13, pray or meditate. Connecting to spiritual transcendence calms the fearful ego by reminding you of realities larger than transient worldly concerns. When afraid, take time to sit quietly and pray sincerely to open your heart and shift perspective beyond limited ego. If prayer is not your tradition, meditate to detach from ego fears and feel universal sacredness. Consider the vastness of time, the inevitability of mortality, the interconnectedness of all life. Your individual worries become less solid before the enormity of existence itself. Fear shrinks in proper proportion. Reflect on the parts of yourself, consciousness, love, creativity, which never change even as ego identity fears change. You are connected to an enduring divine essence beyond this temporary body and personality. As Marcus Aurelius advised, look back over the past, with its changing empires that rose and fell, and you can foresee the future too. In the stillness beyond thought, touch the sacred within. Feel fear dissolve back into its native nothingness. This sense of vastness remains underneath fear when you tap into it again later when afraid. Quiet contemplation or heart-opening prayer calms nerves naturally by connecting to realities vaster than the fearful mind can grasp. Remember the eternal, fear not. Number 14, seek trusted counsel. When you notice growing anxiety about an issue, resist the urge to ruminate on worst-case possibilities yourself endlessly. Reach out to level-headed loved ones to talk it over. Ask for their honest thoughts and perceptions. Does this situation seem overly worrisome? What possible positive sides am I overlooking? What constructive actions could I take that I may be blind to? Listen sincerely without defensiveness. Often we just need a sounding board to get out of our own spiraling head. Their grounded support helps fear seem less solid and consuming. Of course, take full responsibility for managing your own mind as well. But a dose of rational outside perspective can be invaluable when lost in the hall of mirrors of anxiety. As Seneca counseled, we should every night call ourselves to an account. What infirmity have I mastered today? What passions opposed? What temptation resisted? What virtue acquired? No one is an island. We need the wisdom of community to illuminate our blind spots and expand limited views founded on fear. With help, you find your way back to courage again. Number 15, affirm inner strengths. Fear often succeeds by convincing us we are helpless when in truth we never stand alone. Though times get dark, your inner light remains strong. You have weathered storms before and have gifts to withstand the storms ahead. Tell yourself, I am brave, I adapt, I handle challenge creatively. My spirit is stronger than any fear. I turn suffering into growth. Though afraid, I always have courage within to take the next right step. If emotions tempted you into despair, what truths about your greatness would loved ones who know you deeply reflect back to uplift you again? Let their voice speak your worth. Have faith in the tremendous tenacity and fortitude within, however obscured at times by worry. Say often, I am resourceful, I am resilient, I trust myself. This too shall pass. Your light endures. The wise and caring person you know yourself to be at your core awaits underneath the temporary fear. Have heart. Reclaim your full powers and potential by remembering your deep, unbreakable strength. As Marcus Aurelius affirmed, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. If you are listening to this, thank you for staying till the end. If you feel any of these Stoic lessons resonated with you today, feel free to start a Stoic discussion in the comments. I welcome Stoic discussions as they are what the great Stoics like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca advised for. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, and if you want more content like this, subscribe and hit the bell. Thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you find peace and serenity in the Stoic ways.